Oh, it's time to grab your glasses, family. It's time for us to get started. I'm so excited. Sitting up here, Kid Magic Rock. Shots out. Here we go. Drink your water. Come on, drink your water, but first, take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath. Take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath. Take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath. Drink. Or should I say, breathe, then drink. Take a breath. Take your breath. Now, take your breath. I'm sorry, I was out putting putting some, one of the things that I was doing, if you was listening to the episodes in the past, family, well, before I get into that, let me say great Coochie chocolate to each and every last one of you. I am once again doing the show late in the day, so my kids want to get up and start their lives, and they have to kind of be quiet when I'm doing the show, so I want to hurry up and get through the show. But anyway, I was out putting some frankincense on the coals. Like during this year, I was really experimenting with the scents, right? Because knowing ritual, the more parts of the being that you have, we got those 5 senses. The more of those we got involved. We got those senses and we got those 5 parts of being all involved in the ritual process. It makes it easier for us to get the point across. And also we leave sensory clues so that when an individual smell a certain thing or see a certain image, it brings out a certain reaction. Right? In this case, a positive reaction. We all have negative programs where certain things that we could see that will bring out the fear in us. But do we have the thing in our lives that if we see it, it will bring the love out of us? It will bring pleasant memories out of us that were implanted on purpose, not on accident. Implanted in an actual situation where you are empowered, when you see the best of yourself, you see the best of the people, your people, right? So this is, so I'm burning the frankincense to remind me of who I am, who we are, right? And trying to hold on to the last little bit of that Simba spirit before I launch back into the world. But I'm fortunate, unlike many people, I'm fortunate to be able to go into a situation where I am able to carry through with the program, right? I don't go to a different type of gig. I go to a gig where I'm working with young people, where I'm surrounded by loving people, mostly. And it's a powerful place to be, right? And I wish that on all of you. I wish that all of you will find your place and find a group of individuals that you can work with and empower each other, bring out the best in each other. But anyway, without any further ado, family, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, comment, because I can't wait to see your comments. And man, oh man, I want to thank those who have been taking the time to go and make some comments. Join us on the Telegram so we could grow the group and we can start, because what I want to do is I want to start, one of two things is going to happen. Either the Telegram group is going to blow up, or some of y'all are going to be like, hey, we just going to go and get a subscription on the, on the Spreaker platform. This what I mean. Because in some form or fashion, right, for me to move to doing this full time, because that is the goal. Because, once again, there is no retirement in America as it stands presently. You understand what I'm saying? Our people have needs, right? I have tools that can help fulfill some of these needs. So I'm going to start pushing these tools out there even more than I've been doing recently, right? and attaching my face to it. You understand what I'm saying? Because the point being, we need people that are working on our liberation, working on our freedom, working on our mental health, working on our physical health, working on our prosperity 24/7, just like the others have for them. And I want to be that. And I want to be able to build others that are able to do that and inspire those young engineers and inspire those young politicians and inspire those young scientists and inspire those young writers and inspire those young poets and inspire those young athletes, right? So that when they go out into the world, they're not giving their all to that world and bringing nothing back to us. They're doing fantastic things out there in the world, but they're bringing it back to us. You dig, right? That is the goal. That is the goal, because of course we're living in a global economy. There's no way that we're ever going to go back to the isolation unless these West Asians just finally decide, since we can't win, nobody can win. They just blow everything up, and then we have to start all over. But prayerfully, and with our ancestors' help, we can move past that, right? We could put a freeze on all the buttons of control that they may have and be able to build a world where all of us can, in a sense, get along. Because it's possible, because we've done it before. Of course, we had raiders on the Silk Road and the roads of exchange, and that's why certain groups came together to make sure that the roads were safe, right? Individuals should be able to travel without being molested, without being bothered. Individuals should be able to do trade without have to worrying to be horribly cheated. You understand what I'm saying? Individuals should be able to go and do commerce in different places and not have to worry about prejudices and stuff like that, right? You need groups to make sure that rule is followed. You understand? Now, the point being is that what's going to happen is either the Telegram group or maybe both at the same time. People be like, "Hey man, boom, let's go and help. So he gonna take that money and take these young people camping and be able to do this and be able to help fund the simple camp and just do it on a monthly basis. And boom, we'll do something for the members only type thing. But the reason I like the Telegram is the Telegram allows us, because those of you that are donating, those of you that are sending dough, right? You're enabling me to be able to maintain the Telegram so that in the way that I got the Telegram, I can do like 10,000 people on a call if I put it out. You understand? Once we start doing it, we ain't gonna have to worry about a lot of problems that people have with. Of course, there's always something, but you know what I'm saying? But I want to be able to do something special. For example, a principle in review, right? When we say some people say a weekend review, like we go through all these principles. What if on Imani nights, I was able to do a weekend review where we have a discussion. We have a discussion and we talk about that week and what we learned. For example, we are in the week of Kuji Chagalia right now, and we are on the day of Kuji Chagalia. Let's clap it up. Man. Oh, man, I just thought about that. Yeah, we are, yep. We are in the week of Kuji Chagalia on the day of Kuji Chagalia. That is dope. All right? In the cycle of Nia, during the year of Ujima, what if we was able to have a conversation about the principle of the week, right? The lessons that some of us got. And we start sharing them, because one of the things we have to start really looking at and identifying is that we're not alone. One of the beauties of Simba Camp, as far as when we do the pain fire, what young people start to see is that they're not the only ones going through shit, right? What we also need to start recognizing is that we're not the only one experiencing the same blessings. We're not the only ones We're not the only ones experience blessings. We're not the only ones that sing what we sing. And that empowers people, right, to really start trusting in their magic. Really start trusting in their ashe, right? I come at ashe from a different perspective, because coming and mixing in what I know about ashe and the conversations, but then also participate in capoeira and the way ashe is talked about, right? Ashe is that force, right? When you talking about Star Wars, for me, ashe is that. When they talk about chi, that's ashe for me. When they talking about ki, that's ashe for me, right? And it's like, yo, learning to see things through your cultural lens. We pushed ashe. We moved ashe, right? And it's just as powerful, in fact, more powerful and more potent than all the other systems. You know why? Because it's older. Don't let me find out what the Kemetic name for the life force was. Ka, Ba. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to think about that. But I ain't even getting to the show yet. We at the 11-minute mark. So before we get into it, I want to make sure we cover everything that we need to cover. First off, the proverb of the day. Proverb of the day. Listen up. Silence makes a great sound. Silence makes a great sound. That is from our East African family, the Swahili speakers over there in East. I got to get to East Africa. I got to get to East Africa family. In my meditations, I see me and some of y'all out there in my family. We are going to, because we tried to do the Nyame trip last year and it didn't work. The Nyame trip is coming and it's going to be better than the one that we could have had. I ain't gonna say should have had. Things happen the way they happen, and I'm cool with that, right? I am where I am. Now, we're gonna start rebuilding, and we're gonna take us Nyame and Simba, because some of the Simba's gonna be going. I'm seeing travel for us on a larger basis, right? Because what the community has demonstrated to me is that there is some that are willing to invest, right? Because we call it donate, because like I said, if we need 501(c)(3)s to do it, we have enough 501(c)(3)s that we could run it through so that people could take their tax. But we have more than enough people with financing at this point in time, even in this recession, that are willing to give up a little bit, right? To help the young people to be able to have experiences, because if we want to be free, we got to have our young people seeing that we invest in them, right? My young people knew that they did not get to camp by themselves, because they know that they knew that most of their parents did not put up the full $400. There were people out here. There was my elders out here, my nation builders out here raising money so that not only they could be transported, right, but they would have to put as little as possible. Of course, they had to put something in. They had to participate in some form of fashion. Some money had to be put in, right? But we had to make sure that our children know that the community is in support of them. And we have to do that on a regular basis. We have to invest in our children. We have to pull the ones aside that's willing to sit down at the feet of elders and send them on trips. We got to send them as our emissaries to Ghana, send them as our emissaries to Senegal, send them to these other African countries so that people can really see who we are rather than see what's being shown on TV. The only way we're going to battle that is by sending one youth at a time, and that one youth will hit 10, and those 10 people over there will be able to hit however the fractal, however it flows. We have to be able to do that, right? We got to send people not to proselytize, but people to demonstrate that what we are doing works, right? But anyway, I ain't even getting into it. Silence makes a great sound. Now that one's hard for me, but it makes sense because it talks about being able in a moment of issue to be able to sit back and reflect before the words flow out. Silence makes a great sound. Many of you need to learn. Like I got young people around me all the time, and I have to tell them, I have to remind them, everything that comes to your mind does not have to come out your mouth. You say you don't want to argue with adults, but everything that comes to your mind does not have to come out your mouth. Silence makes a great sound. Adults, everything that comes to your mind does not have to come out your mouth. We have people right now who are approaching 40, 50, and 60 who cannot maintain relationships because everything that comes to their mouth, they believe they have to speak truth. Right? No, sometimes you need to shut up because that's not truth. That's you just needing to say something. Some of us really, and all of us got those people in our lives because let me say this to you. If it's essential truth, then you need to speak it. But some of that shit is not essential that you calling truth. It don't even need to be said. Like, for example, if you're discussing somebody, y'all have different beliefs, right? And you're having a conversation, allow them to share their belief. You don't have to get into trying to destroy their belief just because you think that you know more or that you're different. Listen to it because you might get a lesson out of it. I ain't saying you have to, you know what I'm saying? If they're going to continuously, you might need to say, can I have a chance to speak, please? All right, cool. Because that's kind of hard. And we have to learn how to do that with each other a little bit more. Right? But it is what it is. So that proverb, silence makes a great sound. And I'm going to take that one to heart. Or at least I'm going to try. All right. But the ancestral algorithm today is I override the blame program with the serenity protocol. Now, for those that don't know, I talk a lot about the blame, shame, and guilt game, right? The blame, shame, and guilt game. The blame, shame, and guilt game is thrown on you when they are trying to hold you in your place. You can't do that. You can't do that. Shame start talking to you. You know what you did. Blame start coming on you. Guilt start riding you. These are tools used by your enemies to hold you in place without having to inflict physical violence. Think about how many of our people maintain being in bondage because of blame, shame, and guilt. Blame, shame, and guilt. You can't be free because it's wrong. I've been taught blame, shame, and guilt. It's littered all throughout all of these curriculums, not just school curriculums, job curriculums, all that shit, right? Blame, shame, and guilt. Hold you in place. Hold you loyal to a company that ain't going to be loyal to you. Hold you loyal to a relationship or a person that is not loyal to you. Hold you loyal to a group of people that are not loyal to you. Hold you loyal to institutions that are not loyal to you. Blame, shame, and guilt. And when it can't hold you down with that, that's when they move to violence. Many of you are in violent relationships right now. Because once you see through it in the blame, shame, and guilt, when they can't hold you with the blame, shame, and guilt, they'll go to the violence. So we got to be clear about that shit. I override the blame program with the serenity protocol. Now, let's talk a little bit about what we mean here at Nyame about serenity, right? Because serenity is not an individual game. Serenity is like an institution, right? Because you as an individual, I will say, can have serenity, but can you maintain that serenity in the face of institutional oppression? In the face of institutional violence, can you hold your serenity against an institution? Yeah, you keep your mouth shut and sit it down wherever they put you, or take whatever they give to you, and you can maintain it. But sovereignty is a group sport, a team sport. Because those that are sovereign with you realize that if they take away your sovereignty, everybody's sovereignty is in danger. Everybody in that group sovereignty. So hell no. Hold on. You have institutions that can look out for you and stand up for you and stand with you in your sovereignty. Listen, sovereign means possessing absolute independent authority over one's mind, narrative, and destiny. Possessing absolute independent or interdependent authority. Let me change that. Interdependent authority over one's mind, narrative, and destiny. And rather than one's, over our mind or minds, narrative, and destiny. All right. So I override the blame program with the sovereignty protocol. Are you overriding it? Getting rid of that blame and overriding it with the, I know some of y'all, brother, I think what we do with when they get to the violence, then you have to leave. If you can't win, you have to leave. It's called a strategic retreat. Right? But then it's a part of your mind that you got to change, because even when an animal or a person is living in a hostile, dangerous situation, when things get bad, they always return home regardless of what's going on in the home. So you need to go on and refocus where your home may be. Even when the home is not comfortable, even when the home is showing love, you have to change in your mind, what is your home, right? Now, I'm not the most Bible thumping dude, but one of the things Jesus said, the Son of Man has no place to lay his head, has no home. And what we used to say in ancient days was, the home is where the sun breaks. As long as I can move, wherever I am is where my home is. Even if that's homeless and in the street, because I don't have to go back to no bullshit. You don't have to go back either. But anyway, I'm at 22 minutes. I ain't at, oh my God. All right. So that was the algorithm. So the Ubuntu loop for the day is, now remember, listen, hold on. Let me say that. Let me say the algorithm first. I override. I'm listening. Anime, they say anything? You hear anything, Anime? Anime can't hear you. I'm sorry, y'all. Did I say you? I override, okay, the blame program, okay, with the serenity protocol. Once again, I override the blame program with the serenity protocol. One more time, promise. One more time. And this time with emotion, because y'all know what's coming. I override the blame program with the serenity protocol. All right. And that brings us to the Ubuntu loop. Now, y'all know Ubuntu. I am because we are because I am. Right? So now we're just changing some of the stuff in the Ubuntu piece so that y'all can see the power of Ubuntu. I am sovereign because we are sovereign. And because we are sovereign, I am more sovereign. And because I am more sovereign, we are more sovereign. And because we are more sovereign, my sovereignty is massive. And because my sovereignty is massive, our sovereignty is massive. And because our sovereignty is massive, my sovereignty is. You get it? How it goes. And because it's flowing in between us, when it hits the we, it comes back more powerful. And when it hits the I, because it came back to me more powerful, I'm sending it back to the we more powerful. So when we start really understanding this, I am sovereign because we are sovereign. And we are sovereign because I am sovereign. I am more sovereign because, and you could just keep on building on that loop. That is a loop mantra that you could just roll in your mind. It's a figure 8. Just take a number 8, which for us is the symbol of power. Turn it on its side. You got the infinity loop. And you could just run that. You are on the left end. The we is on the right end. And you could just run. I am sovereign because we are sovereign, and we are sovereign because I am sovereign. And you could just keep running that loop in your mind as an image, building upon it, using any adjective that you want to use to describe your state, right? But remember, you got to go back and check out my article about proper visualization, because many of us may be visualizing wrong because we was taught on purpose to visualize wrong. But anyway, let's keep it moving. All right. So I did the proverb. I did the algorithm. I did the Ubuntu loop. Now, here are my haikus for the day. Did not wake early. Last day before I return from our world to theirs. When I go to Simba camp, it's kind of hard for me. I got to take a couple days afterwards because, it's just like with any vacation. It ain't even a vacation. Let me say this. I'm coming back from a world that I know is possible, that I know is reachable, that I want to share with as many people as I possibly can so that they could get the value, so that they can feel the energy and bring it home with them. And then I have to come back and I have to go back into their world where we are not valued unless we put value on it, unless we start learning how to use these tools, right? But the majority of the people that I'm running into don't have any clue about who they are and who they belong to, right? So I have to prepare myself to return back into that world. And I have to be able to turn in their paperwork and, get back into, following their processes to make sure that I'm able to be of service to my loved ones. All right? Speaking of that, I need to do something when I get back to the job. Anyway, next. It is very hard returning from sacred place back to the profane. Simba is a sacred place. And it's sort of like, I can only imagine how ancient heroes, even modern heroes, because I've been there before, where you have to come back. You are exposed to the way things, this magical place, right? Where food is aplenty. And everybody, is in the same mind state. And you could feel the energy. And then you have to come back to this shit, to the profane. So you can't burn your incense in the house. You know what I'm saying? Or go back to my job. You can't be yelling too black, too strong. You know what I'm saying? And, it's so it's kind of rough. Anyway, next one. Out pushing Ashe. Something bit me on my foot. The itch will not stop. And that was the truth. I'm out pushing Ashe. That's how I look at Tai Chi. I'm practicing moving the Ashe. And y'all need to understand that when we're doing yoga and we're doing these moves and martial arts and stuff, we're pushing Ashe. Now, that throws a different energy and gives you a different access to the mastery of these things. Because now, even the energy that you're trying to generate becomes yours. It's not from an old Chinese tradition. It's not from an old Japanese tradition. It's not. No, you're talking about you're using this mechanism to plug you into your shit. What a powerful thing. What a powerful thing. But hey, let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Let's go to the proverb. Or the haiku for the day. I already read the proverb once again. Silence makes a great sound. Here is the haiku. Silence brings power. Drop the blamers, loud demands. Claim your sovereign soul. Ooh. So first of all, I want to greet everybody. I want to greet warriors. I want to greet the elders. I want to greet the nation builders. I want to greet the tribe. You know what I'm saying? From whatever tribe you may be, or from whatever organization that you are blessing me right now to lend me your ears today on our journey. And remember, it's a journey. It's a journey. Many of you want answers, right? In the midst of the journey. I know we're going here. You want an explanation about where we are right now. No, I can give you the explanation about where we're going, right? I might not be that clear on where we are right now. So I need you to trust the process. This is a heavy thing for us, all right? Today on our journey through Nyame, or through Nyame cycle, we stand grounded in the sacred indigo of Kujichagulia. Thank you, Simba. Roaring on that self-determination. We step into Kujichagulia. We seize the pen that writes our narrative and take absolute command over the spiritual code operating within our minds. Our ancestral guiding light for today comes from the Swahili tradition of East Africa. Silence makes a great sound. In a society governed by noise, emotional reactivity, and constant external chatter, the untrained mind often mistakes volume for strength. But our ancestors understood the truth. Unshakable power is held in intention, an intentional sovereign quiet, right? Like, for example, on July 28, 1917, nearly 10,000 African Americans gathered on Fifth Avenue, New York City, for the historic silent parade, dressed in solemn black and white, moving only to the steady rhythmic beat of muffled drums. They did not scream, argue, or plead. The absolute disciplined silence reverberated across the entire nation like thunder, piercing through systematic oppression and demanding justice through an unyielding, self-determined presence. And you got to realize how unsettling that could be for any group. This is one of the reasons why they have been working to break up any organizations that we have that truly move us towards liberation, because it's easy for us to get on the same beat, right? The same rhythm. So they keep the rhythm changing. They keep the rhythm, you know what I'm saying? They have to really do things against the rhythm to stop things from happening. As I reflected on this moment and review the wisdom laid down in the Players Pyramid, haikus by Hatim, or Freedom Within Limits, I'm reminded that Kujichagulia is not about battling external noise with more noise. It's about reclaiming full governance over your internal state. Today's code is plain. I override the blame program with the sovereignty protocol. Deprogramming via negativa, dropping the blame loop. When an individual or community gets trapped in the blame program, vital life force, Ashe, leaks outwards. Listen to that. Type Ashe if you ever felt that. When an individual or community gets trapped in the blame program, vital life force leaks outwards. Blame is noisy. It constantly seeks external targets, reacts to external circumstances, and surrender your sovereignty to the very condition you complain about. It is an illusion that tricks you into believing someone else holds the remote control to your life. Through the subtractive via negativa practice, removing what dilutes your spirit rather than piling on more baggage, we delete the impulse to point fingers, seek external validation, or justify stagnation. We must scrape off the buildup of false narratives that tell us we are helpless products of our environment. When you install the Serenity Protocol, you enter the silent power of self-governance. You stop explaining yourself to those who do not build with you. Let me say it again. You stop explaining yourself to those who do not build with you. And what's crazy is many of us fall into the blame, shame, and guilt because we can't answer some of those who are not building with us when we shouldn't even give a damn. I ain't got to answer your questions like that. You ain't building with me. You know what I'm saying? You stop explaining yourself to those who do not build with you. You stop waiting for permission from systems that were never designed to elevate you. In quiet, disciplined alignment, your mind, body, and spirit synchronize. You become the primary programmer of your reality. Your focus pulls inward, grounding your physical breath, claiming your nervous system, and channeling your vital force toward nation building, family elevation, and personal mastery. Silence, when backed by self-determination, is not surrender. It is a concentrated storm of purpose. Drop the weight of blame today. Shed the chatter and let your stubborn presence make a sound that echoes through generations. And with that I say, family, make sure you go on to the link in the description. Click it. Join the Telegram group. Get your daily toaster shirt or your Nguzo Saba narrative map. You understand what I'm saying? Go and look on there and see what's available. Connect with us so that we can go on and really build. But make sure you get in that Telegram group for sure. Become a supporter of the Daily Spark, right? Let's move this show towards being able to be truly independent. All right. I'm trying to be one of the number one speakers. Let's say one of the number one speakers, one of the number one Black Power speakers. Not even Black Power, number one Black cultural speaker in the nation. You know what I'm saying? I got to figure out how brothers say that. Because brother Umar said, I hate to buy this stuff, but I think I want to take that title, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be King Kong conscience. I don't like that one that much. But, you know what I'm saying? The number one requested speaker type thing, you know, going places and doing Kwanzas and stuff like that and other celebrations, as well as helping people install rites of passage processes in their community, even in their schools. You know what I'm saying? Silent, how to move in silence, because as our ancestors say, silence makes a great sound. Family, you know what that means. You are now listening to Nyame Journey Radio. This is a Heart of a Symbol production. Where we strive to blow up your old paradigms.